For all who comes to this goofy place, welcome.
Welcome back for another podcast episode today. And today we're going to be talking about a hot topic that I've talked about with multiple people when it comes to Disney. And that's going to be park rankings and how you want to go to your specific parks in your own specific way on vacations.
I'm excited because my order obviously is the only correct one. So whatever you have to say is incorrect, but I'm excited.
Well, so since you are so sure about your park order, you're going first.
Oh, I'm going first. Okay. Let me just.
Well, you said that I'm incorrect, so we might as well just wait for my answer.
I mean, because you are incorrect. So anyway, here's how it is. Here's how it is. Order of the parks from the best to the worst. Hollywood Studios, number 1. It has Toy Story Land. That's all I have to say. Next, we have Magic Kingdom, because it's beautiful. And yeah. And then very close to Magic Kingdom, we have Animal Kingdom. Love Animal Kingdom. Has Everest, Pandora, Flight of Passage is the best ride in all of Disney World. Here we are. And then like 25 steps down, we have Epcot.
25 steps?
Yeah, it's just boring to me.
I already have 2 questions about your park rankings.
Okay, are you going to question me, or are you just going to like...
I have a quick question, because your top 2, you only mentioned one thing from each, and then your third one you ranked Animal Kingdom third, and then you listed like 5 things out.
Yeah, that's because Animal Kingdom is third, but like I still need to mention that there are great things at Animal Kingdom, and people need to know that it's third on the list, but it's still like pretty high on the list. Like number 1, 2, 3 is like really close together.
Yeah, the podium positions.
Yeah, and then like 4th place is like, you're the first
Epcot's
loser.
already in the locker room.
Like, you get out of here.
Epcot's already in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're done.
See, that's interesting, because I'll go ahead and give my order of ranking, because ours is pretty different, and I'm sure for a lot of different reasons. But this is why it's such a good topic, or like a hot topic, because my park order of the rankings is going to be Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom. But for me personally, like, Animal Kingdom isn't 25 steps down the ladder. It's probably like 5. But
5 steps
for me,
below
Animal Kingdom
Epcot?
is
5 steps below Epcot.
No,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like Animal Kingdom is 4th for me.
Yeah, but like just because it's 4th doesn't mean that it's like really far down. I just happen to like not really enjoy Epcot.
It didn't get bronze.
Well, okay, true. Understandable.
Okay, so now explain to me why your park order or park ranking is in that way.
Okay, that's an excellent question. So, first of all, you need to know with my park order, like I'm a big ride person. I love the rides. I love the excitement of the rides and that kind of thing. So like, obviously, that's basically why Epcot's at the bottom, because there's like not that many rides, and there's only like 2 good ones that aren't just like a boat ride. Like I love a lot of the rides in Epcot. Like they're all great rides, but like there's only 2 that like really kind of get your adrenaline pumping, or like really 1, but 2 that are like kind of exciting. So that's kind of like, that's why Epcot's at the bottom. But Hollywood Studios, you have Rock and Roller Coaster, you got Slinky Dog, you have all of Galaxy's Edge, you have Star Tours, which is exciting. You have Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I personally do not like Tower of Terror, but like that's a really big adrenaline thing. So
that's a shame.
Well, it is what it is. I just don't like falling or being pulled down 13 stories. Like that's just not fun to me. I have done that ride once. We'll never do it again. Despise it. But like that's why Hollywood Studios is at the top. Now, Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom are very close together. Reason being, I love Magic Kingdom for what it is. The castle is beautiful. It's huge. You get so much walking. You got all the mountains. You got Space Mountain. You got Splash Mountain. You got Big Thunder Mountain. Not in that order, of course. But like they're just like good rides. And then there's also a good mixture of like It's a Small World, a Peter Pan's Flight, like smaller rides that are fun. Dumbo, like such a classic. Dumbo's not like a super fun ride, but like such a classic ride. You like have to go on it. Like it's just those are just like there. And then Animal Kingdom is very close behind because you got Flight of Passage, you got Everest, you got the Kali River Rapids. Like these are amazing rides. Also, let's just like throw this into Animal Kingdom. Festival of the Lion King, best show on Disney World property. I don't care who you are. And if you don't say that's true, you're wrong because it's the best show. And it just is what it is. So then at Epcot, you've got like Test Track, great ride. Soarin', great ride. Then other than that, you got the Three Caballeros, which I love, but like boat ride. You got Spaceship Earth, which I love, but like, do you know your ABCs? Thank the Phoenicians. Like that's all that's there. And then
is that the one that gets your adrenaline pumping, Greg?
Yeah, it's truly Spaceship Earth is like, this is the one right here. When we go into that room, they're like, do you know your ABCs? Thank the Phoenicians. Like I'm like, yes, this is the best part. Or when Rome is burning, you're like, oh, it smells so good. Like that's the good part right there.
There's nothing better than the Dame Judi Dench whispering in your ear while you're smelling burning wood. Is that what you're saying? Is that what gets your adrenaline pumping?
That's what gets me right there.
Secrets out.
Like Living with the Land, quality ride, amazing. Like it ain't much, but it's honest work type of living here. Like it's so good, but it's not super exciting. And I just need like a little bit of excitement. And I can't start and end my day with Test Track because I'm just like, meh.
We technically see that is where I get a little bit like confused as well, is because people love Test Track so much. I'm on Test Track before I even go to the park.
Right? You go in your car faster than what Test Track goes. Test Track might, if you're lucky, get up to 69 miles an hour, but most of the time it's like 65, and you're like, that's it.
Yeah,
and like
and
I
on
drive
I-4,
with my windows down at 70. Like this is nothing exciting. Like
yeah, like driving on I-4 is basically Test Track.
Yeah, for sure. Like
so,
and like driving at night on I-4 is also Test Track, and you got like a big 18-wheeler like flashes their lights in your eyes, and you're like, wow, like give me old Test Track back, and it's more exciting.
Old Test Track was so much better. I since we're on the topic of Epcot as well, since they did change the Maelstrom Viking ride to the Frozen ride, I miss the old Viking ride.
So I've never ridden the old Viking ride, like, and I hate that, but I have done a ride through on YouTube. Personally, I like Frozen better, but I'm a big Frozen fan in general. So it's like, great. And I also just think like the going backwards part's super exciting, which I think was also in because like the track is the same as Maelstrom. But like, I just really like the story of Frozen. So
yeah. And I think the reason why Epcot for me was third and not last is I can see how people can become bored with it pretty fast, especially like when we were on our college program for Disney. That was like one of the parks that everybody always wanted to go to. Like that was the park that it was easiest to go to for the group because everybody could have just, I don't want to say tolerated it, but everybody was happy with that decision because there's multiple things to do. There's, you got multiple festivals, the art festival, food and wine, flower and garden. And then, you have multiple things going on in Epcot throughout the year.
But see, like,
so I think it just makes it
things in Epcot change. But for me, I went there all the time, especially in my college program, just because it was the closest park to work. And so it was like I could walk to and from work from Epcot. So I went there all the time because it was easy to get to, which like is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But also like I've done everything. Like, can we just talk about the World Showcase? Like, okay, like it's nice to see the different countries. You can try different food. Like that's kind of cool. But also like just not super exciting. The American Adventure, that video is just like Hall of Presidents and Magic Kingdom is way better.
Yeah. Well, it's a World's Fair on a world stage, basically.
That's true.
Yeah, people coming from everywhere to go to this World Showcase and try different drinks, try different foods, and just from different areas around the countries. And the only time that they have different countries, like the countries don't change. You know, like you have Germany and, you know, Canada, Mexico, Norway. I'm not even saying them in order, but I'm just saying what comes to mind first.
Yeah.
But with the festivals, then you have like a Brazil kiosk, a Hawaii kiosk. Like, so I guess that kind of changes it, makes it nice. But at the end of the day, like if we have to be negative about Epcot, it is basically just it's a classy, very nice, very detailed World Fair.
I mean, you're right. And I'm not trying to be negative about Epcot. I'm just telling you why it's at the bottom of my list.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but, you know,
I want to know why your list is the way it is and why it's wrong.
Well, see, I'm glad because you said bottom of the list. So I was going to switch over to Animal Kingdom, and you're about to disagree with me pretty hard.
Probably.
But Animal Kingdom, to me, is like an overrated, glorified zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they do have my favorite ride on property, which is Flight of Passage, because that experience is like no other. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but Rise of the Resistance doesn't necessarily do it for me. And I think that might just be for the simple fact of because I worked it opening day and then also through the rest of my program before COVID canceled it. So I also had to deal with some guests that became unhappy with the situation because Rise of the Resistance is a really, really in-detailed, technologically advanced ride to the point where if one thing goes wrong, it shuts down and it has to reboot, and that takes about an hour.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That happened like 2 or 3 times a day, it seemed like at the beginning. So it got to the point where it's just like, okay, I haven't even been able to ride this ride yet, and I'm already starting to resent it just based off of what I hear from the guest and what I had to go through as a CP during my time working for the company.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, Flight is my favorite ride over, because what is it? I guess technically like Flight and Rise are like the two most technologically advanced, there we go, rides available at Disney for guests to go to.
Yeah, true.
But in my opinion, that's basically all Animal Kingdom has. I mean, Mount Everest is fun, but I also rode the crap out of it.
Yeah, because it's a great coaster.
Yeah, when it first came out, like 2008?
Something like that.
Facts might be wrong on that.
Right. I don't know.
But I would just ride it over and over and over and over to the point now where it's just like, I only like riding it with first timers.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about rides, but like there's more to Animal Kingdom than just like a couple of rides. Like the theming is so good.
The theming is good. I will give it that, especially in the Asia section and the Africa section, especially how they sent Imagineers over there and did a bunch of research, took a bunch of pictures, talked with, you know, the locals, talked with architects and everything over there. Especially that one Imagineer. I cannot think of his name right now, but he has the famous earring.
Oh, I know who you're talking. I don't know what his name is, but I know what you're talking about.
It always slips my mind.
Yeah, there's like a thing on Disney Plus about him.
But he's like the king of Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So I mean, it's amazing. And they do have Festival of Lion King,
which is
however,
the best show on property.
It is one of the best shows on property, yes, but I don't want to date this podcast, but I am going to date this podcast with COVID going on. It is not the same. It is not the same at all.
No, you're so right. Now that it's back after COVID and there's no tumble monkeys and they're not doing the flying bird, like it's not the same. It's really not.
Yeah, I can get that's where I think Disney needs to, you know, it's like if you're going to open it back up, people are going to expect it to be the same. Like you can't open something back up. Like that would be like riding Flight of Passage with no 3D glasses or like the screen isn't working.
Oh yeah, you like
there's
just
nothing
get the movement of like, yeah, I get that.
You get the movement and you get the audio. You don't get the visuals.
Yeah.
Like without tumble monkeys or like I don't even think that they have you know, Simba in there, Timon and Pumbaa. I don't think they have any of that. So it's like
Timon and the floats are there. The floats are there. But like you also don't have the guest interaction anymore right after COVID, now that it's back open, because they don't want the guests making all the animal noises as much because you're like possibly spitting on other people or like putting more germs into the air. And so you're literally just like sitting there watching it, which is great because it's still a great show, but it was much better before COVID.
Oh, yeah. As a lot of things were.
Yeah. Okay. Go back to your order. Why are Studios and Magic Kingdom at the top?
You want me to start from the top now?
Yeah.
I was about to say we did kind of
We skipped around a little bit.
shake around a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just kind of with what came up. But no, so like Magic Kingdom, number one is because, you know, the first time I ever went to Disney World, I was 7 years old, or I was 6, just turned 7, because my parents blessed us enough to take us on our birthday weekend, which was awesome.
Heyo.
And I'll never forget looking down Main Street, seeing the castle, seeing the parade, seeing all of, you know, the side shows like the Dapper Dans and the band coming through and everything. And even like the characters walking around, because Disney was not as busy back then. So you even had more character interaction.
Yeah.
Instead of just like Peter Pan walking around every once in a while when the park's slow, or like the bears in Frontierland, they walk around every once in a while and have their little show for kids. Back then, there was just a lot more interaction, and I was just like, wow. Like, I've only seen these characters on screen. So I was like a 7-year-old that always like stayed with me all the way up until my current age, which is an old 25, almost 26.
Okay, so for you,
So I
like
still-
Magic Kingdom was just nostalgic. Like that's why it's number one.
Oh, absolutely. And every time I go in there, looking down Main Street and seeing that castle, it never gets old. Even with the ugly new paint job it has, it still never gets old.
Yeah.
That's another hot take or hot topic, is that ugly paint job.
Yeah. That's like a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Okay, Hollywood Studios. That's your number 2. Is it a close number 2?
It's a pretty close number 2, if not very even. Like it's neck and neck.
Mhm.
But the only reason why it's neck and neck, because it wasn't always that equal with Magic Kingdom. The only reason it is now that close with my number 1 is because of my Disney college program. I worked in Hollywood Studios,
Yeah.
and I became very fond of Hollywood Studios just because that is my home now. Like that
I was
is-
gonna say that's home to you. That you get so much like memory from all of your time in Hollywood Studios.
Oh yeah. Well, I just got back from my Disney vacation, and it's so weird walking through studios now because I know what she looks like on stage and off stage.
Right.
I know how everything operates backstage, and it's not to the point where it doesn't ruin the magic for me. It adds to the magic because I can walk around that park now, unless they do some dramatic changes in between, the time that I'm 50 and now on how they do backstage maintenance and everything. But probably for the rest of my life, I will have a good idea of what is going on backstage, and that just adds the extra magic. I don't know what's going on backstage for Magic Kingdom or Epcot or Animal Kingdom, but I did that on purpose.
Right.
Just so it made my home more of a home. But I think that's why Hollywood is second overall, just because it doesn't have as much nostalgia as Magic Kingdom did, or didn't have as much of an impact as Magic did when I was younger. Although it did have the thrill rides. I love Tower, unlike you. I love Rock and Roller Coaster. Fantasmic I didn't like so much when I was a kid, but it has grown on me now, and now it has like a sweet spot on me.
Mhm.
I'll watch it just because of my DCP for the rest of my life. It just adds a sweet spot to me. However, they did get away from the overall theming.
Yeah, I feel like it's not Hollywood Studios anymore. The only thing that like really now is the same is like, I guess you kind of get the like Hollywood feel walking to Hollywood Boulevard and like Sunset Boulevard. Like the Indiana Jones show is the only thing that's still like, hey, this is how we do it. And I don't like that, especially being like a video person. I would love to see more behind the scenes stuff. And before they changed a lot of it, like before Toy Story Land, before Galaxy's Edge, I went and had like the backlot tour and the car stunt show and all that kind of stuff, which is like really cool as someone who loves video and like behind the scenes movies and things like that. But I don't even know how you call it Hollywood Studios anymore. They used to actually film movies there, but like you don't do that anymore. It's just another theme park.
Well, yeah, they don't necessarily film anymore, but fun fact, I didn't know if you knew this, but they actually did create, if not the whole movie, I knew it was at least half to a good portion of it, but they created Moana backstage on property behind studios.
I mean, yeah, but that's an animated movie too.
Very true.
I didn't know that. But it's a cool fact, but that's also an animated movie. I'm talking about like real live action, like here's how we do these stunts.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Indiana Jones show is starting to get a little dated, but it's that good classic, almost corny, like good corny dated.
Yes. No, I like it. It is dated, but I do like it. I also think I like it because again, you get that audience participation and you get to like dress up in fun costumes and all that fun stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, because now I'm trying to think of things that are kind of relatively, at least there from opening day or still with the theming. Because when you walk into the park, everything is immediately themed, 30s, 40s Hollywood. You got Oscar Super Service. You have Hollywood Boulevard, where cast members are still wearing the, suspenders and tie, or the strawberry dresses for the women. Same for Sunset. And then you have Tower, which is themed in 1939 to be specific.
Right.
And then you have Rock and Roller Coaster, which the whole point of that ride is to go backstage or like VIP with Aerosmith.
Right.
So I guess that's technically Hollywood theming.
It's like still kind of in theming, but then like right next to Rock and Roller Coaster, you've got like the Cars Raceway something. I'm like, what? Like that doesn't fit there at all.
No, yeah, they just threw that in there just I think just for attendance reasons.
Yeah.
But basically, other than just those sections and the Indiana Jones ride and a few restaurants like Sci-Fi Diner, Backlot Express, Hollywood and Vine, and
the ABC Commissary.
ABC Commissary as well, and then Prime Time.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's about it. You have Toy Story Land, which, yeah, it's a movie, but not themed 30s and 40s. And then you also have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
And I love Toy Story Land. The rides are great. The theming's amazing. But it just doesn't fit how like Hollywood Studios used to be. And where else would you put it? I don't know. Because it doesn't fit like in any of the other parks. I don't really think. But like, it's still just like not. It's not what it used to be, but
yeah. Which Toy Story Land is still very fun to go to. But I guess what makes it work so well, even though it doesn't go with the theming, is it is kind of tucked away in the back corner. However, I do not like that ugly transition between Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story.
Oh no, it's the worst transition. It's just like It's like these random rocks. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep. Like there's no like transition.
No, it just like ends Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge begins.
Yep. Like if they could have, added like some blades of grass or maybe like this isn't COVID friendly for right now, but it's not going to be a big deal forever, but even if you kind of added like some corridors or
well, that's what they have on the other side between like Muppet Vision and Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, they have like a nice hallway, concrete hallway that you walk through, and it's a nice transition from Grand Avenue to Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, that's why Magic is 1. That's why Hollywood is 2. Epcot 3. Animal 4 because it's just a glorified zoo.
I mean, I personally love the animals, so like back off a little bit, and I just think the rides are great.
How do you feel about Kilimanjaro Safari?
I enjoy it, but I've also been on that ride so many times that I like see how they do it. That sounds weird. Like I see how they like get the animals to certain areas, and just kind of like that's cheating. Because like after I've been on it a few times, instead of looking at the animals, I'm like, ooh, let's see how the leopard doesn't jump over into the
cheating.
next like until they like jump over into the next habitat and like eat the animal. So like, I don't know. But I enjoy it. I mean, I think I would love to be a safari truck driver because I could just sit there and like make dad jokes all the time about it. But I think it would be really fun.
I was trying to hold one in that whole time when you were talking about that, saying like that's cheating. I'd be like Gray's on there saying that's a cheetah.
Yeah.
Like, good
Okay,
job.
but I would say that. I would say that.
He's such a cheetah. Yes, we are in the cheetah exhibit.
Yeah, and I would talk to myself. I would like make jokes to myself, and then people would think I was crazy, but it's fine.
I do not know if she was having a rough day at work, but the last time I went on Kilimanjaro Safari last week, oh my God. I don't know if maybe her allergies were killing her or she was just monotoned or it was the end of her long shift because I know that they've been working long hours here lately just with being skeleton crew basically, but it was the worst Kilimanjaro Safari experience of my life. Like I was really hoping that there was not first timers on that safari just because I even looked at the people I was with. I looked at my girlfriend and I was just like, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And she's like, yeah, this is pretty rough. She's like, I can't stand listening to her. And I feel bad for saying that, but it's one of those where on rides where you have to talk, I feel like you would be really good on that ride because even if you weren't feeling up to it, you would still be like, I'm here. What do you want from me? Like
that's just my personality.
I'm ready to do it.
But I think that's what's so interesting about some of the rides. I mean, not all of them, but like some of them, like even Rock and Roller Coaster is like that. To me, part of the experience is the cast member going, hey, how about some backstage passes?
Yes.
Like I've been on it multiple times, like times where the cast member does that and then times where they don't. And then Steven Tyler's just like, yeah, that's a great idea. And it's like, great idea for what? We didn't even talk about, like no one had a great idea. And so like the ones that the cast make the difference are so important, I think. But it's hard to base it if you've only been one time. You can't be like, oh, Kilimanjaro Safaris is like a terrible ride if you've only been once and you just had like a terrible guide on your tour.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too is, you might have a great guide on that ride, but it might be a terrible experience because the animals don't feel up to it that day.
Right. Or like the timing. I mean, if you go at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the hottest part of the day, the animals are not going to be doing anything because it's so hot, especially if you're there in the summer.
And it's a hit or miss, like just in general, like not even because it's the hottest part of the day or whatever, but in general on that attraction, it is a hit or miss.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But I mean, those are small details about what makes our parks the rankings that we have them. So,
yeah, I was about to say we can go on and on forever about that, but that's basically what we wanted to talk about today was our park order / park rankings, and then just give a little bit of why.
Yeah, and if you agree with us, let us know, especially if you agree with me, because you're right. But if you don't, then let us know why. Let us know why you think Epcot is the best park, and I'll agree to disagree.
I might be setting myself up for failure on this one, but if you agree with me, I'll take you to Magic Kingdom and give you free Mickey ice cream.
Hey, I'll agree with you to get free Mickey ice cream.
Yeah. Already switched you over. Just kidding, guys. I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, please don't.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people that have the same order as you. There's only 4 parks, Jeff. There's 7 billion people in the world.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that probably thought they were just getting a free trip right then and some free ice cream.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for listening. Let us know what you think on our Instagram at the Goofy Scoop. And can't wait to see you guys next week.
Yep, sounds good. Just like Gray said, that is all that we're going to have today for you guys. And hit us up on that Instagram and let us know what your park order is on our most recent post. All right, everybody have a good one. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Bye. That was the most awkward ending ever.